your first couple albums, you were probably the big songwriter, all the way through everything, right? The big songwriter.
Yeah, I'm the main songwriter.
Yeah. Is that by choice? Or at any point, did you ever want to kind of share it, or is it just kind of like easier to just be you?
Put it this way, it's out of necessity.
Well, you've had a lot of other guys in the band over the years. I mean, Johnny Monaco's a songwriter, a good singer.
Yeah, he was a live guitar player with us. He didn't do any records or anything. I asked him a couple times on the road, let's write a song or something, but he kind of, I don't know, for some reason he shied away from that. Derek and Vic didn't write songs, I guess maybe later on in life they did, but when they were in the band, they didn't, that Ricky didn't write songs. And it's just me and Chip,
Yeah, that would have been good. You and Johnny, I think that would have been good, because I think, vocally
I would have tried.
Stylistically, I would have, other bands could still have other musicians and still sound like the band. I don't think it would have taken away from the sound. It would have been interesting to have another singer, vocalist that you could have played off of. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's like with Chip, the co-writing was cool because, he'd come up with some idea or something, and I'd just take it and do all the rest of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that was easy. But I would love to. I love those songs that I co-wrote with them. Because just somebody just can give you one little note different and it'll bring you down a whole different alley. You know what I mean? And I love co-writing, but I just haven't had much experience with it.
I just want to ask you really briefly about some of your album covers early on in the titles where you came up from. Obviously, Enuff Z'Nuff, self-titled. Strength in the album cover. Who came up with that?
The label. When I first seen it, I was like, "What the fuck?" Too, a big naked man on the cover. But when you go walking in, as you walk into the Atlantic building in New York, that's it, right in the lobby. That's what you see is the strength cover. Only it's holding the world, but they just made it a peace sign.
All right. Mm-hmm. Now, I think one of your best album titles, you guys actually pretty good album title just overall across the board, is Animals with Human Intelligence. Talk about monkeys right there. I love that title. That's probably a good title. I don't know if you came up with it.
No, we had nothing to do with that title. That was all the label.
What? That's actually a good title.
I guess it summed us up, huh?
I don't know about that. I just thought it was an interesting title. So you guys have no control over any of the titles? They just kind of took over, or what?
Just that title. Just the title of that record. That was, with a whole different kind of label. Like Echo Atlantic, we basically, they knew what we were doing. They knew we knew what we were doing. So they kind of let us have free reign and do this and that, and then any bad decisions and choices that were made, like the look and all that stuff, was out of lack of experience in our whole management team and everything being kind of clusterfuck at that time. We were going through lawsuits and shit. And so, so we got to basically call it ourselves, you know what I mean? And then afterwards, after the Animals, then we were no longer on major labels. And then I basically, I basically come up with the titles.
All right, so then actually you could get,
but not the covers.
Well, who does the covers? Who came up with the covers to go along?
I don't know. Different people do the covers. See, I was not always consistently present, you know what I mean, mentally and this and that. And so Chip did a lot of the business side of everything. And a lot of times one of the biggest problems I had with Chip is that I end up getting stuck with decisions that he made that I really strongly disagree with, but I get stuck with them when it's too late, when they're etched in stone, I'm holding a copy of the record.
Yeah. And, it's such a process of a band. Usually a lot of bands have the cover art. It's a whole creative concept.
Yeah, well, I come up with a great title for the record, you know what I mean? Because after Animals, like Peach Fuzz, because we were like babies, and it was kind of a mishmash of things that didn't make records. And then Seven, which was our seventh record, so that was an easy one. 1985 was an easy one.
Right.
I don't think I came up with that, but then Tweaked, that was Paraphernalia. That Welcome to Blue Island. Welcome to Blue Island was going to be a great album cover, but see, I would come up with these titles, but the next thing I knew, there was an album called that with whoever's artwork or somebody seen or sent or who's did or proved or whatever, and I fucking hated every single album cover. Like Welcome to Blue Island was when you drive, right? Huh?
Yeah, I'm pulling up the title. Yeah, it's with big sunshine on it. Yeah,
when you drive into Blue Island from the shitty side, there's a big sign that says "Welcome to Blue Island." It's got like 50 bullet holes in it and shit, where people shooting the sign up and stuff. So I thought that would be a great
Yeah,
album.
actually would've been, yeah.
But somehow the album cover looks like a cartoon Big Chips Enough as a son. I don't know what the fuck, man. Dissonance, that was a good one.
Yeah, that but it's interesting because like the title could have gone more with the art. I mean, because like I said, you know, Peach Fuzz was nice. It could have done more with it. It's just an orange cover. You know what I mean?
The artwork. Well, my idea. See, I had ideas for all the artwork for those records, but they just wouldn't be used or ignored. You know, like Peach Fuzz. I wanted to have like a little sort of like the Van Halen, right? Just a little like 2 or 3 year old girl and a boy. You know, naked little girl and a boy. You know, the one having the shades and the cop hat and cigarette in his mouth, and you know, the little girl. And I thought that would be kind of cute as Peach Fuzz, you know. But then it was orange, just an orange cover. It was nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's just, I feel like, you know, for such a creative band, that's why it was always a question. I'm like, where are these album covers coming from? Because it doesn't feel like it's tying in with anything. I mean, I know you just label things.
I think we got the worst album for any national act. We've got the worst album covers in history. I like the first one. The first one's good.
Well, yeah, it's pretty basic. These holds together. Paraphernalia is not bad. It just looks like a magazine cover. I actually pulled up right here so I can remember as we're talking about him here.
Oh, we kind of I was going for that clean Night at the Opera type vibe with the shadow.
I also kind of feel like it's kind of like the Rolling Stone or old Vogue, like old 70s type of magazine, type of the dark thing. Yeah. So now you've been in control of your own stuff though, right? 100% your own album covers and stuff.
Pretty much so, yeah. You know, I talk about things with other people and stuff, with my team, management, my sister and everything. We discuss things, but you know, ultimately, you know, the decisions are mine, you know. Mm-hmm. And it has to be that this is the first time in my life, and probably the only time in my life I'll actually get to do my clear vision like I always seen it, like I see it, you know what I mean? And like my last record, Beautiful Things, that was right down the lane for exactly what I wanted to do, you know what I mean, and always wanted to do. And that's the first chance I had to try. And now there's a lot of other stuff going on, and I have to be present. And I'm not very good at business or consistency and stuff. And I forgot there was this today, you know what I mean? They just woke me up later to get in the shower. I really do think that I have, as long as I used to be all fucked up shit. Now, as long as I'm not all fucked up, I really think, you know, that I'm the creative source of the band and my music and stuff. And, you know, I've got great ideas for things, you know, like Beautiful Things cover, using the fans and stuff on the cover and shit. And so most of the decisions are basically mine at the end, or unless something I get bullied into.
Who always did the album covers? Obviously kind of felt with the theme. But
we had this great art director from Atlantic Records, still a great friend of mine, and he did some solo records of mine, and he's done some other work, T-shirts and all that. But his name is Larry Fremantle. And his son Zach actually is a kind of a great star basketball player on the college circuit, goes to Xavier College, and he's, you know, anyway, Larry, he came up with a lot of that artwork and all the Mr. Big stuff. I remember, I mean, Pat Torpey and Billy Sheehan most of the time would come up with like the title, right? You know, like when years and years ago, where we would play like this, you know, the struggling days and struggling gigs, and we'd be handed, sorry, I'm stuttering here, but Herbie used to say, hey, you get lemons, you make lemonade. You know, it's kind of an old saying. And we would persevere through all kinds of adversity. And Pat, maybe, or Billy said, hey, lean into it. If somebody's going to shoot you in the head, just lean into it. You know? And, or bump ahead. I don't know how that, oh yeah, this is what happened. Pat went to a library and looked at all these photo books, and he found this book of like this guy sticking his head out of a manhole cover, right? Like some sewer worker, and all these cars are coming. And then Pat brought the photo to us, and then he goes, bump ahead. And it was like some kind of, there was always a joke involved.
Yeah.
Excuse me. God, I just did a vocal lesson too, right before I'm talking to you. Back to being whiskey scratch here. And they all were like that. I mean, the one album that Larry found this guy, another guy named Larry, Indian Larry, who was kind of a stunt motorcycle rider.
Yeah.
And and he got him to ride this motorcycle, stand up on this motorcycle, driving down this long road. And what was it? Get Over It. I don't know what that was, but
Get Over It. That was one with Kotzen, right?
Yeah.
That was a good album.
Yeah. It's all Mr. Big music.
I know, but you're trying to reference that.
Kotzen, Get Over It, and Actual Size. There were two great records. Get Over It was that sort of more country, R&B, funk, rock, and then Actual Size was kind of a cool pop rock record.
It's interesting. We'll go back to that stuff, but with Kotzen, you're right. It all sounds like Mr. Big. He didn't sound like he didn't fit in. Like, I feel like it brought a little more of your soul voice out in this album. It still sounded like Mr. Big, but a little more soul, a little more funk in some of the songs.
No, I loved it. I mean, I talked to Big Game like all through like the first 4 Mr. Big records. I was definitely influenced by soul music and R&B and Wilson Pickett and Otis Redding and all that stuff. And I had the twang, the soul twang in my voice, but the band didn't necessarily sound like blues rockers. I mean, there was definitely moments, because we all loved the band Free and Humble Pie and Spooky Tooth, all that. We loved that stuff, but we were also influenced by obviously some Van Halen things in it and other kind of rock genre. But when Richie got in the band, God, for me, he brought it out to the table. We started to have that country blues sound, Mm-hmm. There was a song called Try to Do Without It. It was on Get Over It. I listened to it the other day. I mean, oh my God. I mean, it sounds like something Chris Stapleton would be doing right now, but yeah, it's country funk. I love it. And I love that, Richie was a lead vocalist and I'm a lead vocalist. And it was my suggestion that instead of stifling this guy and just making him a guitar player, let's do some kind of a Righteous Brothers thing where we both trade lead vocals. And we did that like on 2 or 3 songs on that, on our career. Well, I mean, Get Over It, Actual Size, there was a bunch that did make the record that still out there that's got our voices on it. Our first song that we wrote together was a song called You Don't Have to Be Strong. And it was in his kitchen in North Hollywood. And man, it was a kind of a R&B ballad, actually. So different than what you expect from Mr. Big. And then we did a song, Suffocation. We did Shine, which was a hit. And a
real good song.
Countries, we kind of altered the sound of Mr. Big a little bit, but I thought it was a good thing. Diversity.
Yeah, it didn't change. Like, it wasn't like you didn't recognize who Mr. Big was. I mean, it does, but one market hasn't just exploded, because he just did now 50 songs and 50 on an album, 50 and 50 or something. Ridiculous, right?
Oh, but they're all, man, they're great.
I know.
Like you, I'm a huge Richie Kotzen fan. He's a good guy, funny as hell. Live, he's just, you go away shaking your head going, how the hell does he do that?
He's no throwaway songs either, though, on his album. There's no junk. They're all, they're all good. No junk. They're all good.
All good.
Yeah.
All right.
So I like that. So anyway,
we agree on something.
So anyway, that was we agree on something. It killed me. I love that. So it was weird at one point. So getting back together, I know Mr. Big you guys kind of broke up, sort of. It took a break. Was it a hard break up, or was it kind of weird?
Back? They're all hard breaks. But when I say hiatus, that means I don't really want to talk about it. Yeah. They were all, looking back on it, it wasn't bullshit. It's just that when we got back together in 2009, nobody really talked about it, which is okay, because years you know, you lose the taste for hate after so many years. You just sort of forget about it. We swept it under the table. We got back together. There was a few little animosities here and there, but the key that we stayed together was we had respect for each other. You know, I lost a little respect in some of those hardships back in the day, and I'm sure they did too with me. But that you know, that wasn't the case anymore. I respect. I mean, I love Pat Torpey, respect Billy Sheehan, Paul Gilbert so much, but like, you know, I mean, after Pat's death, you know, it took a lot of, the wind just came right out of the sails, you know, and it was really difficult to play without him. And it's, you know, it was a grieving process for a really long time. I'm not saying that, I mean, I would love to get back together with Mr. Big and do another, possibly a record, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really think if we have anything to say, or I still, when I write songs, I constantly think Mr. Big in my head. I don't know. So even when I try to write acoustic songs, it's always comes out Mr. Big, but I would love to do a tour, definitely.
Actually, I pull up a couple.
Name a cover now.
All right, I'm going to start with you first. I'm going to tell you one of my favorite is Ear Candy, and I know that's not always everybody's favorite album. I actually like the album a lot too.
Thanks. But the reason we have that cover, that was my idea on this one. I remember we were talking about covers, and I said, you know, I love R. Crumb and I love Haight-Ashbury in those really cool Mr. Natural post psychedelic.
Yeah, I know you're talking about, yeah.
And so someone at Atlantic suggested, well, we can get a hold of the guys that did those posters. And I go, have them make us a poster. I mean, album cover. And so they just sent them our name and they made the cover and sent it to us. And we all went, wow. It looked just like an old Haight-Ashbury cover. And that's,
did you have the concept for that though?
Huh? Yes. Well, it was my idea, but I had no concept. We just told them we want a cover, and they just took our logo and made it up themselves.
That's fantastic. I mean, obviously, some of them you have pictures of the band. Those are, you know, nice pictures.
Yeah, on the back, I remember we did a photo session, and next door to where we rehearsed at in Houston was this place that they had a couch and a porch, and it was all this graffiti all over it. And I think it was somebody's home, but or apartment or something. But a bunch of kind of hippie kind of people lived there. That's in the area. That's where it was downtown. And we were walking down looking for pictures, a place to take pictures. And I said, hey man, let's take a picture up here on their porch. And so we knocked on the door and said, hey man, can we take a picture of an album cover? I said, yeah, just as long as we get to see the picture. And so we did. And that's what that was. You know, that was like around the corner from where we rehearsed. We would walk down that street to this little restaurant called the Last Concert Cafe. They had concerts there at night, but during the day it was a Mexican restaurant, but you had to knock on the door because the door was always locked. It was always full of people, but when you walked up to the door, you knocked and somebody came and opened it. You could be sitting at a table and the door knocks and you just get up and open it. But that's the tradition in there. It's Texas.
That is really crazy.
Texas has some cool stuff.
That is crazy. All right, how about like your last album, like sort of in a way, without I hate labeling
you know
where you say it.
What is that? I think we used the. What does that album look like?
It's green. Get the brown circle sort of in the middle, and King's X in the middle of it. Got like almost like a sun type of like stars shooting out from the side.
Yeah.
It's different than what you normally have because it's more. Yeah, it's more just like. Yeah.
I remember I wanted to call the record Ogre Tones.
Ogre, I'm type. Yeah.
But I don't remember the cover and who did the cover at all. Wow. But I remember we were writing songs or doing songs and we didn't have names for certain songs. And we called everything Ogre this, Ogre that. That was just a running name of every track that we did. And when in Ogre Tones sounded so cool. And I kept saying, we need to name the record Ogre Tones. And I got my wish.
That is
but
great.
the cover, I don't remember.
That's all right. You're allowed that.
If I saw it, but
Yeah.
but for me to try to pull it up on it's too much trouble.
It's all right. It's all right. How about Tapehead?
Tapehead. Well, Ty had an idea that he said, when I remember when we were talking about album cover, he says, Doug, I got this idea. He said, let me use your face. And he said, let me take a whole bunch of tape and tape it all the way around your face. And then take a picture of it in my front porch in the little indentation. So, and he says, and I'll do something to it to make it look freaky. And I go, okay. So he wrapped my face with tape and took the picture, and it's called Tapehead. That's
really great. I think it's I think some of the fun parts, some of the album covers you guys have, I also like well, Please Come Home, Mr. Bulbous.
Please Come Home, that's Ty too. Ty had the idea. He said, he kept mentioning this. He says, dude, we should name the album Please Come Home, Mr. Bulbous. He says, I know it sounds stupid. I don't know what it means, but I like it. And me and Jerry both just loved it. And we says, what are we going to do for a cover? And he says, I'll come up with something. And that's what Ty said. And he did. He came up with that picture with the guy with the bulb on his head. And he said that he had this idea with a guy with a bulb head, Mr. Bulbous. And we thought that was just ridiculously stupid. So we said, let's go for it. Because one thing that King's X will always do, if we think something is really goofy and stupid, we'll do it. Not something that's stupid in a way that's gonna make us look like idiots, but something that's just so ridiculously odd that borderline stupid, where we laugh and laugh.
Yeah, I mean, I like them. I think that it's one of the fun parts about, especially in a day and age where albums and album covers. I mean, I know these are also CDs.
Now,
but one of my things, I love that. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Manic Moonlight was the worst cover we've ever made. I think I want to venture to say all three of us would agree. That's just a horrible cover. Just horrid. I can't find anything.
Well, where'd it come from?
Cover. Ty made it up, and Ty doesn't like it either. He told us one day, and I remember him telling us, "Oh, good." But the thing was, when he came up with it, we said, "Sure." It made sense to us. The thing about making that record was that we were in a position where we thought that nobody cared about King's X, and basically our career is over, and we were barely making enough money to pay bills, and we had this last record deal with Metal Blade Records, and we knew we had to make a record, and we had no real inspiration. We were just beat, but we knew we had to make a record. So we went in and just kind of threw a record together as best we could and put as much heart into it as we could with this defeated attitude. And there were some good songs on that record. Don't get me wrong. I thought that we laughed. I mean, I look at that record and go, man, the way we felt about everything in our lives, I'm surprised we got this out of it. Like Believe. I love that song, and I thought, where did that come from? Because we sure didn't believe in ourselves. And or like Skeptical Winds, that went on for 5 minutes, and I said, maybe we should turn it into verse, chorus, and end it. And Ty goes, just let it go. And I go, well, what do you think people will think? You go, well, maybe they'll just dance to it. And we'll go, all right, let's just let it keep going. And it's some people's favorite song, So the thing about us is everything we do is thought out. Whether we took time with it or not, we put care into it or didn't, it was still done deliberately. And as a result of it, it's art. Does that make sense?
It is. And it almost sounds like in that album, you were actually letting yourself out of what you thought you felt like you had to do was acceptable. And songwriting, you're like, you know what? Got nothing to lose here. Let's just do this. Let's just do it. Either for fun or for art reason or for whatever the reason is. Let's just do it. Which, looking back, probably creatively, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Even your what you call your worst album is probably better than a lot of people's best albums. So I mean, your album is strong.
Go ahead. Sorry, I'm listening. I keep cutting it on you. Sorry about that. But I remember making Mr. Bulbous, and I forgot what the train of thought was because I cut you off and I was thinking about how I did that. Sorry, I forgot.
Are you talking about it looks like there's a baby coming off underneath behind a tree in that album cover, lighting a candle. Is that what it is? What's going on there? Can you tell me? This is the time to tell me.
Mr. Bulbous?
No. The Manic Moonlight. We kind of skipped that. It looks like there's a baby coming up from behind with a candle.
Honest to God, you'd have to ask Ty about that because he literally made that cover up. And he showed us 3 covers, and that was the best of the 3.
I've never looked that close to it. So you just said that. I just pulled it up down here on my tablet and just opened it up. I'm like, it looks like a little person with a candle. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. But we didn't know. I don't know. Like I said, we were really at a place where we were completely fatigued, spiritually, mentally, physically, and monetarily. And so we were just crawling, trying to create something that was at least something that people wouldn't just turn their backs on us forever for, you know. And people even to this day say that's their least favorite record. And even though other people defend us, I have to be honest and say I understand why. You know, I've always been honest with.
You can't have 100% every good album because there's no such thing.
You can't. Well, most of my favorite bands put one record out. That's the greatest thing in the world, and the rest of them are okay. I think we were lucky. We got Gretchen and Dogman, so I go whoa, you know, and that's why I've always looked at it. I hope our new record.
I would throw Ear Candy in there also, like if you're talking your top ones. I'd say Ear Candy and actually. I also have a soft spot for Tapehead myself. That's why I brought it up. I do.
Well, I love Tapehead and Ear Candy in a way of those were records that really were really us.
You feel off the beaten path a little bit. For you.
Yeah, Tapehead. We wrote almost all those songs together. And I remember that Ty and Jerry, after we got done with all the music, they left the studio and said, okay, make up some lyrics. They said, send us what you got when you're done. And they went home, and I stayed in my studio for a month and made up lyrics and melodies and harmonies. So I worked really hard at that. But the songs were just fun. You know, and the one before that, Tapehead, what happened with Tapehead was I don't know if Ty feels that way, but I think he did. But that was our last attempt at writing hit songs to get a good song on the radio, because that song was full of hit songs. Sometimes in Mississippi Moon, Run. I mean, every song was tailor-made to be played on the radio as far as our attitude was. And it was just overlooked. And so we went, well, fuck that. Let's go home and do Tapehead and just write everything together and see what we got here. You know, because at that point everybody was bringing in these done tunes, a box, you know, all those songs. I remember Train and just things that we all brought in where I'm going, these can be played on the radio. I think even 67 stations, I saw a video in my head, you know. But you know, that record was completely overlooked. So yeah, we moved on.
It was interesting. So you guys wrote and then together, and now you said this last album you guys all wrote separately again.
Yeah,
you guys sort of started separately. If I'm correct, right? You guys started separately, writing your songs together.
No, the beginning of the band for the first few years, I wrote everything. I just, you know, King's X was kind of my idea, and I had a bunch of songs already written. And when we started, they were just doing my songs. We were doing what we do, and then later on, early in our career, Ty started writing songs, and Jerry didn't start really contributing until way later. He just felt like we didn't want to hear his songs, and we did, but we probably we were young. Maybe we didn't. I don't know. But so, and I've always been the guy that's wrote. I've been writing even, you know, I was 30 years old when King's X started. And since I was 18, I've been writing songs and doing it in bands that I was in. So that's just something I always did, play guitar, keyboards, whatever it was. I made everything up. and I was around people that seemed to just let me do it, and they just did what I wanted to do. I controlled everything, didn't realize that, but I was just so full of music that you just had to come along with me. If you didn't want to do it, then you'd fade away and I'd find somebody else. You know, I was a pretty dominant person. And in King's X, Ty, Ty kind of stepped up to the plate instead of, saying, hey, man, hey, you ain't got it all. And so we started to balance things out as brothers and the rivalry, and we pushed each other and things like that. And so by the time we got to the first King's X record, me and Ty were running neck and neck and writing songs together. I mean, apart from each other. And for the first probably 4, maybe 5 records, we wrote probably the same amount of songs on every record. I think Sam did that on purpose too. He wanted to make sure nobody got any more than the other. He had this ZZ Top mentality that no one got more credit. No one got to be the rock star of the band. Nobody got anything. You had to be like ZZ Top. Everybody does it together. Nobody separate.
Might be why you have 15 albums now, though.
yeah. And for us, everybody, it was weird because, I find out later a lot of people wanted to talk to Doug, and Ty and Jerry would say, go talk to Doug. That's who you want to talk to. But in our camp, that was shunned by management, especially. And so we just kind of evened things out. There were so many things that King's X did that maybe hindered our fame because of our manager, Sam, at the time, who thought that he had the next Beatles or U2 and thought he could control everything from the beginning. I mean, I remember when we were asked to do David Letterman on Faith of Love album. I think it was Faith of Love album. And Paul Schaefer's band always played along with the band. You didn't hear it. But
Van Halen. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Van Halen did it, yes. Sam turned him down and told us that he said within a year they'll be doing what we want him to do. That he really thought, and I found later, through the grapevine and through the industry people that had to deal with him. Yeah, he was one of those guys that really played us.
Rat EP came out, blasted out, you had like 100,000 copies, something ridiculous.
Right.
At that point, and we're talking about you kind of like redoing some songs between Mickey Rat, and then they kind of get remade a few times. So that EP did pretty good, had a certain sound, a little raw. Yeah. Then I know they went and repolished it, I guess, for the reproduction. Didn't Atlantic like redo it?
We redid back more.
Yeah. And then Out of the Cellar, obviously probably the biggest album that you guys did. I mean,
it still is to this day.
Yeah. Yep. So a lot of those songs you have on there were really good. It was the full band. You guys were firing on all cylinders. And what I know changed a lot. I know you like to write alone, or you've said you like to write your lyrics and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
how that changes between the albums, I'm kind of curious about as a band to the years, because songwriting is different each album. You know what I mean?
Well, the way I work and worked with my band with Rat is I still, unless you bring a song in, that's complete. Like when we were thinking about, when we had the opportunity to do the EP, we really didn't have any music. We were playing all of Mickey Rat's music.
Right.
And Up in the Dog. And I think we were just starting to write, like this one song, Reach for the Sky, and this other one, I Won't Lose, which I have, and the original band demoed it for Out of the Cellar, but never made it. So one day you'll hear those. But anyway, if you didn't bring in a complete song back in the day, when we were in pre-production for Out of the Cellar, or the EP, it really wasn't, noticed or something, and unless we were just, whoa. Hence, you think you're tough. That was probably the first real Rat song written not as a group, performed, recorded by the band. All those other songs on the EP, You Got It, Cheater, Tell the World, were Mickey Rat songs. They were completely done, which it gets to the point
No, I really wouldn't consider working on a song unless you just give me music, unless you really had some kind of somebody. Robin had a great title or words for a bridge. And the same would be said for anybody else. I mean, Juan came to the table with for Out of the Cellar with a couple songs, and they were pretty much complete, except on one song I really couldn't bite into the lyrics, and it really wasn't me. So that's why I like to write lyrics alone, because if I have any kind of outside, influence, it wouldn't sound like me. Some people like talking about the sky and water and stuff. Me, I like talking about cement and, trippier shit, cement pirate shit. So, that's where that came from. It's not that I didn't want to write lyrics with these people, because at the end of the day, it was Beau Hill who went, "Oh, that sucks," or "That's great. You're a producer."
Right.
Or somebody in the band did come up with something great, but like Lack of Communication per se, I changed a couple things, but it's a Juan song, complete. So I would come up with complete songs, or leave me alone. Give me your ideas and leave me alone, and then you'll get your product.
I know, because at one point that you talked about, like, the band was kind of like, they're kind of like, oh, he takes off and he does the song separately. And I know you've said that before, so I was kind of curious that it kind of drove him nuts. But then, of course, at that point in the songwriting, your band was a couple albums in, everyone's getting bigger, egos are getting bigger, everything's kind of separating. And then so when you're songwriting, everything just is amplified. So it's not about the songwriting, it's about everything's about everything. So
sure.
So I'm kind of focusing in on, like, oh, so let's really talk about the song part of it. And, that's because that's what people love to hear.
Yeah.
So Out of the Cellar had a really great raw sound. It was a cleaned up version, obviously. And you were, like I said, a lot of old Mickey Ratt songs were kind of cleaned out that you weren't using. You were starting to kick in new songs as a band.
Yeah.
Then you came out, then Invasion of Your Privacy. That album, a lot thicker. I think the guitars sounded heavier in that one. That's my outside thought.
That record was it was quite different than Out of the Cellar. All we knew is that, oh shit, you have I don't call it a hit record. You hit a nerve. And I think Beau's thinking the same thing. You guys better write the best shit you've ever written. And that's what we attempted to do. And we did bring the notch up a few. So it was cool. I love Invasion. I think Invasion is a great record.
Invasion is that one, I would say, and that's probably one of my, that and Detonator are probably my two favorite Ratt albums. Like my top two, and then I'd probably work. But with Invasion, it had some kind of like ballady things, and but what's interesting, at least you didn't release. Is there any old Mickey Ratt stuff? This was all new Ratt stuff at this point, right? This album was all band.
Invasion?
Yeah.
I think there might have been, I'd have to look, but there might have been a couple leftovers. Yeah, if I'm thinking about it now, it's quite possible. Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen any. At least they're not released like publicly. I mean, I know you have like every bootleg of yourself ever released, but I don't think I've ever seen these released. That's why I was asking, as far as these felt like they were a new animal itself.
Yeah, the songs on Invasion.
Yeah. You're in Love, Never Use Love, Lay It Down.
Whoa. Stop right there. There you go. Never Use Love is a Mickey Ratt song. I wrote that song complete, all done, complete. So I did that throughout the catalog. I would bring it like Top Secret. That's a Mickey Ratt idea. Okay. That was actually recorded by Mickey Ratt. And so, you just refreshed my memory. Yeah, there are a couple songs that were Mickey Ratt or that have been sitting around. And like I say, it goes back to This Song's Complete. Here you go, guys. We used to do it in our set in '83. It didn't make Cellar. So it's time. And it worked.
Oh yeah, well, in your defense, I mean, you've written probably hundreds and hundreds of songs and put so many different albums and versions of albums, and and to remember all that would be just insane. I'm not trying to make a Ratt joke either. You're insane. But to that point, but Never Use Love. the production really made it fit, because I couldn't hear. I mean, that sound would not have worked on out of the cellar like that. It works with Invasion of Privacy.
You're spot on. I would have.
Was that a producer decision, or who made that decision?
It is a producer decision.
Yeah.
Because once Bo figured us out, which he did, because see, Out of the Cellar was pretty much his first rodeo and our first rodeo doing a full length record.
Really?
So it worked.
That was a good album for both of you guys to be your first time.
Yeah. So whatever transpired in there, it worked. And Bo Hill wasn't about to miss a beat. And the label presidents weren't about to miss a beat. And they wanted the sophomore to be a hit, and it was. Thank God, you know.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I remember when it came out. I was so excited. I had that when got the set. I was so looking forward to it. But like all your albums, and one thing is consistent. They all have a certain sound. There's not like there's no uneven sound on the album. Like this album could be here, and this could be belong with this album. Each album, and whether it's the production or the song choice or the order, you know, it works out really good. And this album I felt like was really designed for like stadium, for live playing. A lot of the songs just felt like they were very much designed for an audience, you know.
Well, we did consciously want our songs to be able to come across live. It wasn't until later we got a little out of hand, because a lot of those notes that I had to banshee yell and scream weren't gonna work well on the road for 14 months. You know, night after night, I wouldn't have a voice. So we learned real quick, don't do that. If you can avoid it, don't make us sing or do something that you can't reproduce on stage.
Well, there's still singers that are doing that now with their height, with certain notes they sang when they were younger. Then, you know, when you get older, you can't sing those anymore. You're singing it down key.
You can. There are guys who can do that, and God bless them. I don't know. You know,
There's only a few that can still do it, that have the voice of like, you know, like there's only a few Sammy Hagar voices out there that can just still hit those notes, you know.
Yes.
That they wrote when they were younger.
Correct. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, they made me do stuff like, well, I'll Never Use Love or Dance, Dance, Dance. I got to tell you, when that record came out and they picked that single, I was like, oh shit. You mean I got to do that every night? It's going to get in the way of my partying, man. You know. But I have a voice. I'm lucky enough to have a voice, whether people think it sucks or not. Sometimes I think it sucks, but it is what it is. But, you know, you got to be careful, you know, trying to do these things and hit these notes, because it'll haunt you, you know, later on when you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, but I had to prove I had balls or something, or everybody's doing it. And
you have a singer voice, you know. You're a singer and you have a rock voice.
Say what?
I'm saying you have a singer and you have a rock voice, and you're on tour, and you have like, especially having a rough, gravelly, bluesy voice. Any singer that has that kind of voice, after a certain while, you're going to blow it out, or you're going to have a bad couple of years live because the weather. I mean, it's not a guitar. It's not going to be. It's hard to keep it in tune. It's moving and breathing. It's a body part. So
yeah, I'm lucky enough to have a voice, or unlucky enough, but I don't have to really worry about it. You know, I don't really bite into a towel backstage or go me. You know, I'd rather laugh and talk and work my voice, you know, pre-show that way. But I've never really had a problem, and I'm very fortunate that I could go out there. We actually did 29 shows in a row, something really crazy back in the day. Mm-hmm. And they didn't think I was going to be able to do it, but I'm like, well, let's just do it and see what happens. And
I think your voice has gotten better, like stronger, like, you know, live performances. I think there's a time where I don't know, like you had problems with your legs and you had medical issues and stuff going on, and you're just regular singing, you know, it wasn't top or bottom, it was just whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not knocking you, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we all have life stuff going on. I couldn't do what you do. But the point is, like,
I'm lucky.
Your voice, but your voice getting stronger again, though. Like, it's getting stronger again. Like, is my point. It's like, it's great.
Well, that's happening because I don't partake or indulge in these dangerous substances any longer. And if you're drinking like a fish, you're going to have some problems eventually down the line, or maybe not. It depends on what kind of music you play and your delivery with people. I mean, there's so many aspects to that. But I'm happy, we're fortunate enough to have a voice to it. I don't worry about it. I just do what I do.
It sounds good,
the guy that goes out there is a whole nother person. I flip a switch before I go out, and the minute I come back off stage, I flip it, and that's it. So I kind of don't even, how I can get away with some of that, I don't know, but I'm enjoying.
Well, keep doing what you're doing. It's your voice has gotten stronger, and maybe even if you're drinking, your mindset's a different spot, so you're not singing it properly because you're not thinking that way. I mean, maybe not have to do with your voice. It's just like where you're at. If you're doing other stuff, you know what I mean. If your heart's not into it, if it's a performance, you're like kind of walking through it,
Correct. And here's somebody told me a long time ago, was a teacher, and I never had voice lessons, even though I was told to try to get some, but that'll just disturb your character and individuality. But they told me, think the note before you speak the note, and within that little millisecond, most probably you'll hit it. So to those singers out there, try it sometime. There is enough time in your head to do it, believe it or not, to think about the note before you sing it. So I tend to do that quite a lot. And it's very helpful, because you'll be amazed. Sometimes I just go, holy shit, it works. You think it.
We got a lot going on too. To be thinking that you guys are moving. You guys are a very physical band, and we're talking. Well, now you are your solo band, Rat Bastards. But even the day, I mean, you got to move. You can't sit still on that stage, especially with Warren and his bass guitar. The way he jazzercises with it all around, and it can knock you out.
Right. Yeah. Warren has a tendency to still try to, but I know he knows he can't. Look, those were days when you're in your 20s and you could climb on the scaffolding and rafters and fall on your ass and get up. That doesn't happen too much anymore. And we're very lucky, us 35 years later, that we can still deliver. I mean, I would love to see the band. Look, I've jammed with Bobby. I would love to see Bobby jam with Juan and me, and I would love to see Warren pull into the picture. But that's up to him. And if it never happens, it doesn't happen. We have a great legacy.
You do. It'd be a shame.
But we'll see what happens. I mean, I had a great time with Bobby out there. I mean, never missed a beat. It was like, that's our Bob, but if there was a live audience and it was, a bunch of thousands of people, it would have been a whole nother ballgame. Yeah, that's when all hell breaks loose.
I mean, it'd be nice if the four of you secretly get together one time and just play for fun as a band to kind of have some kind of closure. You know what I'm saying? Like just no tapes, no recording, just as friends, as you started. Yeah. That would be that's how I think.
Knowing me, if that's all recorded, let you know.
Well, you know what I'm saying. I know. Gesture. If so, Dance Gonna Cover came out, once again, new sound, still platinum, you're still guys kicking butt. Dance came out, a little different song. I wasn't kind of expecting that. It felt the sounds were almost like the guitars were almost like they were short and punchy in that album. I don't know if was it the change so on purpose, because it felt like you guys were getting even a little heavier. Body Talk was like poppy, but then actually heavier.
Yeah, you're talking Dancing, right?
Yeah, Dancing Undercover, kind of that one right now. So,
well, let me explain Dancing to you. Dancing was really a premeditated record. We saw Invasion was more of a polished record. Yeah, it was for that year and that time and that episode, the Rat Lives. But when it came time to, we made the sophomore glitch. We made it out of that. Now, what are we going to do next? Robin and I, and most of us, even Warren, decided we wanted to go back to basics. Let's just try back to EP Seller. There was no pressure. The songs were harder, and let's not have as much fluff, so to speak, because then everybody was by Invasion, all these new bands, everybody's used your producer, taking your tricks, and so we really wanted to make a change in the delivery of that record. We wanted it to be harder, a little much heavier, a heavier record, and
it did feel heavier.
Accomplished, you know.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, even like when you it doesn't matter when you start off and you start playing just a guitar, it's just you singing with a guitar.
Right, Neil Warren, yeah.
Yeah, that was probably like I love that song. But the whole album is really good.
Thank you. We would try different things. I mean, if you have the ability to you know, to do different things and experiment, not literally, because we knew, and now we know, even to this day, there is a schematic to Ratt music. Juan knows it, I know it, Warren knows, it's just Bobby knows. It's just stuck in our heads. And so even if we wanted to do something to make it different, like the other Ratt records that came after the Sony Portrait record and even Infestation, without Bo and, you know, in the nucleus, or at least the four of us in the nucleus, it's going to be hard to, you know, it would be very hard to
put
get
together
the real picture of what people, you know, expect and what Ratt really is. Because you actually, you know, you get where I'm going with that.
I do. I think you do have a Ratt sound. You have there's a formula and there's a chemistry that you and the guys make and Bo makes, and that actually. So as we're going through, we're just going to do the Ratt stuff. We're halfway there. So that actually is perfect with Reach for the Sky. So I know Reach for the Sky, I think you tried without Bo.
Yes.
And Bo had to come back.
Well, look at what's right in front of me.
There you go. Perfect. Because I have the artwork. You've got to tell me, what the hell is that album cover?
Well, I'll explain it.
I've looked at that thing so many times in my life, and I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah, well, you know, I've done pretty much the art direction for the band since day one, merch, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I had to explain that to somebody today. And with Reach, I was thinking, you know, let's try something trippy. I mean, here's a little trivia. Dancing Undercover, the back of the record, with the front of the record with the five guys was supposed to be the back.
Yep.
And the picture of the lips was supposed to be the front.
Okay.
I guess 3 guys out of 5 wanted their faces up there in the front. I didn't, you know, so whatever, it doesn't bother me. I'm, you know, just did the art direction and that's it. So the same be said for Reach. And what I wanted to do with Reach is create kind of a hypnosis level, like the guy who did the UFO records, Lights Out, that art. Yeah, so I was just trying to do that. So I told everybody, and the moon is actually not a golf ball. Okay, so I asked everybody to give me an idea of something visual that they would like, right? Mm-hmm. Like, think of something that's kind of trippy. This time I want to do something kind of really out there. So I did. And there's a couple things missing from the one that came out, the eventual cover. I got close. And Warren has it framed. Is that woman? She actually shows a tit. We had to cover her up because they wouldn't sell it.
Right.
The moon, Bobby wanted his golf ball in there because he was playing a lot of time. Yeah. Like, okay, that would be great. Make the moon a golf ball. Okay. It made it on some. And then I wanted the book to read, Reach for the Sky. So who knows what I was thinking, the plane, but it was just and by the way, another backstage pass trivia is the, how can I explain it to you? Yeah, the art on that record is really out there. I got close, but it didn't go.
Well, the arms are tied up. I mean, I don't just like, I mean, there's like a wicker chair and there's but
the point
goggles.
Is I never really wanted to name an album if there was a song with the same title. Mm-hmm. Okay. Hence, that song Reach for the Sky we wrote in 1983. Well, it ended up on being a title, never using the song. So a lot of these records were songs. Invasion of Your Privacy is a song title. You know, we ended up being something else. Dancing Undercover, the same thing. That was a song title. So there's no way I'm going to put a song and an album, you know, the same thing. Right. I've done with Under My Skin, a solo record, the first time ever. And I've never really wanted lyrics ever in any of our albums. And I believe the only one that Ratt escaped me was Detonator, which is a whole group of producers and people. Yeah, I don't believe in, you know, telling the story. I like people to figure out your story.
Well, how did Reach for the Sky become a title? And you already had the song, and you're like, you know what? I just like the title because the album's different. I feel like at this point, you guys were getting big. You guys were having some issues. You know, trying to decide on a producer and stuff. I'm looking at some of the song titles I wrote down.
Right.
Really, it was not the quality of your music didn't change.
No.
The album had a different sound. I mean, you still Wait Cold Jr. I mean, who's going to touch that now at their best? I mean, that's a good, you know, City to City just feels like that's a touring song. I mean,
yep. And here again, you go. City to City is a Mickey Ratt song. I could play you a Mickey Ratt version and live at the Troubadour when Mickey Ratt played there in 1981, and I like that version better. A lot better, but it is what it is. You get all of us together and Bo, and then you get our delivery. What people, you know,
it's a very polished album though too, though. And I think with a lot of Mickey Ratt stuff, it's a lot heavier, which I personally like. I enjoy it. Like the Ride Around example. I like the Mickey Ratt thing. I listen to a lot. I love that one. The anthology.
Yeah, it is a different.
It's just heavier. I mean, your vocals are produced fine, so it's not even like it's not like demo-y. It just feels like the guitars are just different.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
so and that's just Reach for the Sky is kind of polished. I think is that what happened with Bo when he came in? He kind of polished it for Atlantic.
Oh yeah, he had free. Then it was like he was going to show us how important he was in the mix. But I mean, who knows? We were all over the place. We had been touring for years. Right. We were up, and you know, with that success breeds excess, and you know, a lot of things went down. I don't know if where we were at or why City to City ended up, you know, so far down the line. That song should have been on the EP, you know, or sell it.
Unless it just didn't fit. Once again, sonically, I mean,
but the whole story,
one of the things.
Yeah, the whole story behind Reach for the Sky, Beau Hill actually talks about, if you Google it, Beau Hill on the production of Reach for the Sky. It wasn't that we never wanted to use Beau again, because I love Beau. I've used him for solo stuff, and I think you know, if we were ever to do a record, contrary to what the others might think, Beau Hill would be my first choice to bring back. Of course, you know, we made this sound together. You know, it's almost like team. Yeah, the hidden sixth member per se. You know, our Mutt Lang, so to speak. You know, he knew what to do with us, and the whole story behind that. I'm not even going to tell it. You'd have to do it. You know, look it up, because. Actually,
I've looked up too, so actually have the viewers look it up so we can hit a couple albums and not keep you tied up all day. But it's a good look it up, everybody. I know the story, I know the backstory too. So that one, it's a good one. But that's why I know a little bit. Why I can go back and forth with this. So then you guys come out. Rock is, you know, hair metal, rock, whatever you want to call it. I don't really care. Is eating itself at this point because it's been a copy of a copy of a copy. There is the right for the taking. You know, and then grunge comes, whatever you want to call it. But at that point, you guys squeeze out Detonator. You get Desmond Child in. You go for a different sound.
Yes,
it's a fantastically. Once again, it's cohesive. It's a different level, and I love it.
I agree. That record again. You know, if I had the catalog in front of me, I like Detonator.
It's got Shame, Love and Use Their Job, Scratch That Itch, One Step Away, Hard Time. Heads You Win and Tails You Lose. I didn't know Bon Jovi sang on the background for that one.
Yeah, he sang on that.
All or Nothing, Giving Yourself Away. Oh my God! And the Top Secret made it to this one.
Yeah, Top Secret. That again.
Finally,
that got rehashed. I don't know what happened. I'm sure we had more material, but you know, everybody just threw in their tapes and threw in their demos. Literally, here's demos that I got my songs. Robin or Warren, Juan. Here's my stuff. and they would be nitpicked. We you know, Bo would go through the songs and tell us which ones to really work on. But Detonator, I love that record. I think it's it was a great effort. You know, Robin wasn't around as much, so it suffered without his input, I believe. And you know, you can only do with the tools you got. And
I gotta be honest with you, from the outside, it didn't sound like you suffered at all, you guys. It really, like I said, it's one of my favorite albums. I mean,
yeah, I mean, Robin's on there, but he really, you know, he didn't have a hand in too much stuff, and that really bothered me. I'm sure it bothered him
emotionally. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, look, it is what it is. But that record is a pretty interesting record, Detonator. And then again, you know, I visualize what I hear, and that's how I come up with a concept for any kind of art direction. But
your voice was used too on this one a little differently, you know.
Yeah, it was on Detonator, 100%.
I would have loved to seen where you went from that, because then obviously, you know,
well,
held a handbasket after that.
Well, you know where I went right after that is with Arcade.
Arcade, yeah.
That's how my voice was stronger somehow. Yeah, my voice was crazy for some reason when I did the Arcade, the first Arcade, and that was a great record, you know.
Yep.
So I it's not like I got, you know, my voice really got damaged or hurt or anything, but it worked.
It was good. I mean, yeah, we've talked about some of your soul stuff, and I just was
and then way cool. And then way cool. You know, we saw what everybody was doing. Everybody was doing the ballads around the dance era. We didn't want to do that, even though we did One Step Away and this other song Robin and I wrote. We got close. What I love about Detonator is giving yourself away with Diane Warren and Desmond Child. That is an experience. I took so much out of that. You know, when Claudner had us, even with that Rat record with without Bo, with Claudner, and he put his, you know, in with writing with all these people, I embraced those writing sessions and learned as much as I could from the people who were these crazy writers.
Yeah.
But I mean, having the opportunity to write with Desmond and Diane Warren on that song, it was fucking amazing. To this day, it's one of my best songs I think I've written with anybody. And
sound, your voice is once again, you know, and that shows you the song. You write a song to your voice. So you know, and that's why there's certain songs that some people can't sing. The best singer in the world can't sing a certain song.
Sure, you're right.
There's songs for certain voices. You write for your voice, and they wrote for your voice, but with their influence, and it was just a whole new thing. So. You know.
Yeah, and it was Diane Warren that said we need a working title. She works differently, I guess. You know, I do that sometimes too. I'll come up with the title and then work around that, or let us music stew, and then you go back and go, oh shit, perfect. She asked me, what have you never done? What have you never done? And I said, hey, giving myself away. She said, there's your song title. Now let's go. It was great. I mean, these are like mega pro writers, you know. I mean, you better learn something.
I like that. I like that fact you talked about when we first talked. You know, you're all about learning in the studio. You're all about not just partying, about learning, growing. And clearly, with all your soul albums, you've kept working it. You know, it's a craft. It's an art. Yeah. I think the only album that was really neat is was at the end here, but with I have questions with. So Collage came out when you guys kind of were starting to get back together, kind of a weird time.
Right.
That was, and obviously the collage is a collage, so it's not really a lot to talk about. It's a lot of Mickey Rat stuff, some stuff thrown in, some stuff repolished. Top Secret was on it again. You know, Top Secret was quite a bit. So, you know, Lovin' was you,
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Collage was a record to where we weren't doing anything. You know, I had done Arcade, I established my indie label, and then I was taking a look at our catalog at some point, and I was like, okay, we've got to kick this in the ass. So why don't we get together? And we got all those together. I believe I ran into Warren just walking down the street. Boom, boom. And then I went, hey, by the way, our catalog, this, that, and would you like to, instigate something and put it out there and see what happens? He was into it. We picked a bunch of Mickey Ratt songs, redirected them with his input. And then this is what we got. So it's a fun record. You might
it's not a demo album by any means, but like when I heard Detonator and then that came out, I was like, oh, a new Ratt album. I listened to that, it's like, whoa. Because it was a different animal,
Right,
older
right. It was actually literally a collage. But it was a record that did exactly what I wanted it to do, get us back together and stimulate the catalog. And
I thought it was for a tour, like that you wanted to have some material to tour on too, because a lot of artists won't tour without.
A tour came out of it.
Oh, okay. So it's the opposite.
And it got us back together.
Then it was worth it.
Or a few of us, I think. Yeah, Juan wasn't involved still. Yeah.
No, I think Robbie at that point, because Robbie did that. So last two albums you guys did together, and I think Ratt, the self-titled Ratt, or 1999, whatever they want to call it. I think there's some really great cuts on that one, like Over the Edge, Lifted Today, and Lovesick is so ridiculously good. I mean, there's other songs, but it's so good.
Yeah, that's the Portrait Sony record. That record, I like that record. I mean, look, there's no Ratt record that I do not like, because it took a lot of time, life experience, blood, guts, and whatever goes into your music. So, I respect all of her shit. Music, it's that if you don't have all the elements, I'll say again, you're not going to get the real big picture.
Right.
We can get away with it, like right now, because I have written a lot of the Ratt music and songs myself. It would sound like a record. That's why I have problems getting. Thank God my guitar player Eric does a lot of the music for the solo stuff.
Yeah.
I come up with complete songs, because it takes me out of this, what people expect out of, I'm not getting a round and round from this guy. I don't want to do a round and round. It's been done. It'll never be done again. So that's where that helps with my writing. But that record with Lovesick, that's a great tune.
Yeah.
We really, we tried to get something done there, Warren and I. We really did. And then you get the next one.
Well, just say, I would say they Over the Edge was so good. Also, what was the album cover? Just one last on that album. Where did the album cover come from? What was that?
Infestation or the
no, the Ratt album. It's like that looks like the person
the Ratt
street
record.
that.
Well, then again, it was looking for different art ideas, and I just really wasn't into the art directing at that time. I oversaw things, but I really wasn't too excited about it. But Warren liked this idea of this artist guy. That picture is made by somebody engraving in wax or wood or something, and you make a print, and that's what you get. So whoever that artist is, he was really good. So I liked it. There was no concept to it at all, but let's just put something really weird out there and just call it Ratt. Reintroduce ourselves. And that's where that whole came together.
So, all right. So we're at the last one.
Yeah.
Infestation, which so fresh, so live sounding. It did not sound like an older band. It sounded like just right out of the gate, Eaten Up Alive. I mean,
I love that record, but some of our fans out there thought, oh, he doesn't like that record. He should be happy and whatever. I'm always happy. Number one. Number two, that record Infestation, I gave it a decent title. I just couldn't see it and hear it as a Ratt record like I wanted, and Warren actually wanted too. We got close. No Cigar. I keep saying that. It's a great record. And, I totally dig it. And we tried and did what we do. That's all you can. But those first two singles were written by me and Carlos. Yeah. So it's like me writing with somebody else and saying that's, or Halford writing with some guy and saying that's Priest. It's not, because you don't have all the elements.
It did sound like, I think because there is a sound and certain things you can replicate.
Yeah.
Your voice, you can't. Guitar sounds, and take a guitar off your wall, put a humbucker in, get a phaser, whatever, and you're gonna say you can do a Zeppelin sound. Like nowadays, I got my Vox over there. I can do Queen. Not good, but so that point being, I think when you're not feeling the Ratt sound, and this is feeling as a fan listen to it, we hear the Ratt sound. You're not feeling. You guys aren't feeling Robin, the emotional songwriting connection. Also, you're hearing that missing spot because you guys know in your mind that was a missing part of your puzzle.
Correct.
On the outsiders, people are not hearing that same thing. I can tell you right now. It sounds like a Ratt record.
I know. And that's because, most important, I mean, my voice, I'm not taking all credit for everything, but I mean, look, I can't get away from that. And nor do I want to. It's just hard to get my other stuff across, solo stuff across, without people going, is that Ratt? Is that a new Ratt song? Like, that's all cool. I have my own identification, but it doesn't help on the other side of the coin, so to speak. But that record, like I say, the first two singles, I love Eat Me Up Alive. That's a great song. I actually want to do it live with the solo band, and maybe Ratt if we get there. But
some good stuff. A Little Too Much. I love A Little Too Much. I think it's my favorite song off that one.
Yeah. And, talk about rewriting lyrics. We had all of us living in this compound at the time where the studio was at. We decided, well, get us out of LA, get us away from the comfort zone. And maybe we could, but little did the producer know that we were still doing what we did, no matter what state or city you put us in, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'd rewrite the lyrics every morning. If I go sing, I'd go, hang on, let me go through the songs again. What are we doing today? Okay. And then I would sit there, and on that record in particular, I rewrote the lyrics every day up until the point I sang. It was crazy, but it came out pretty decent.
It's a good album. You should be proud of it, and it sounds like Ratt. I think, like I said, on the inside, I think there's an emotional songwriting thing that you guys hear different than the rest of us.
Oh yes.
The song Scatter. Why are they still doing Japan only releases on stuff? What is up with that? Everything is on the internet now. Why would even just, and what, Japan's more important than the other markets?
I know.
Isn't that crazy?
Anytime you did a release in Japan in particular, you would have to give them a song or two that was never released in the US. And that was just the norm.
Right. Well, that was the 80s, and you could get imports. It was kind of fun. It was a special thing. I remember going to the record store. So I get that. But nowadays, it's all digital, where you can't download that half of the earth. It's crazy.
Yeah, you're right. You're correct. They got that was mandatory, and it was actually its own agreement contract when you did a record, released it, and Europe did the same thing. Canada, no. I mean, some other labels in other countries, whether it's the same label, they have different
rules.
Cool.